Okay, so just a quick recap for Tuesday, June 18th, 2013. We covered a lot of this during the training session, but what I wanted to bring up for those that did not make it was we talked a bit about the RTM strategy, which is just RTM stands for reversion to the mean, which is where price will revert back to the midpoint, which is the red line in the middle of any box. And so what we basically discussed was that it was a very effective strategy. A lot of traders were trading it. What it also does is it minimizes the risk a little bit. In fact, cutting it down to about half. Since if you're short here, and again, what I want to reiterate as well is that the way that we have shown you how we trade the box is a way. It is not the only way, but it is a way to trade the box. And so just always keep that in mind, so that if you are an experienced trader and you are using it in conjunction with other strategies or what have you, just keep that in mind, because there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, so to speak. So with that said, if we just look at the trades that happened during the live session that we did Tuesday morning, price reverts back to the midpoint. And for most traders, at least for myself, this ends up being just a very quick scalp. And so what we kind of got about a 50-50 pull. Half of the traders were just entering in at market, and the other half had a limit order waiting either on the line or a tick under the line. So this trade, obviously this was a winner. So basically what the strategy is that if we have a red arrow, obviously we're looking for short, which this was a small winner. And so the RTM trade would happen as soon as price, if and when price reverts back to the midpoint, which is right here. So that one obviously won. Here we have a blue arrow long, so this one also was a winner. If you're taking this as small profit. This one here happened really quick. This one was a winner. And then this one here, we didn't have one. It didn't. By the time we had the arrow, it attempted to pull back, but it didn't. So moving on with the day, obviously we finally broke through that consolidation, and it worked beautifully. There were several people in the live session that took this trade and did quite well. Small winner here, winner here. So let's see here. By the way, if I wanted to point this out too, so back to the reversion to the mean trade, the RTM trade, what a lot of traders do is what they'll do when they trade this, what they'll do is they'll actually put an order in. So if they're long, then they'll put a long order down here, like a limit order. And so what you see here is that we had a new box form, and the signal came at the same time the box formed. And so what would have happened had you done that is you would have been long here while this is calling for a short, but you most likely would have won it, because if you look at price, guaranteed fill, because it broke past the midpoint 46.5 and it got to 47.25. So if you do like what most traders do that trade this, they're just going for a couple quick ticks. So a half point. This is the ES. Okay, so that one won based on those parameters. This short also won. And then so short, and you have a short order here for an RTM trade. Obviously that was a winner. This was also a winner. This went to the tick, so whether you got filled or not, hard to say. If you're a tick under, obviously that filled you. If you play the line, unlikely that it filled you. It's possible. I've had a handful of trades that go to the tick where I get filled even on multiple contracts, but it just depends, obviously. And then that was it. End of the day here, and that's a wrap. But super easy day. I don't think there was. Well, we had that. We had kind of this consolidation through here, and we talked about this during the class, and I have posted that now, so you can rewatch that. But you should not have lost any of these trades in here. This should have been a pretty much 100% winning day. The winner here, RTM winner. This one won, that RTM won, this short. I mean, these are small trades, but we're also fighting through consolidation. The RTM won on this. This one won. So all these. So 1, 2. If I count the RTM trades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you should have been 7 for 7. And, maybe one of these you ended up taking a small loss on, but 7 for 7 there. And then as the day went on, that trade ran. That was a big trade. So 8, and then we talked about this RTM trade, the long 9, and this short, obviously 1, that's 10. This RTM 1, that's 11. This one 1, that's 12, and this one, I don't know if you would have got filled or not, but that would have been 13, and then markets closed over here. So, but that's it. So I'm going to reiterate this again. I want to make sure that you guys, drill this in your minds. Number 1, the box reveals, or in other words, identifies a high probability trade opportunity. And so what it tells us is to get ready. And then the arrows tell us the most likely direction. So the highest probable direction when an arrow appears is in that direction, and it doesn't lie. Yeah, you'll have situations where this peeks through, gives the signal, and then it comes back down, but it doesn't happen too often. And so you just take those losses and you move on to the next trade. And then lastly, these dotted lines give the highest probable areas where we should seriously consider taking profits for this reason. And so I had mentioned time and time again that the way that I like to trade it is to pull out one tick below. So if I'm long, pull out one tick below any dotted line. So if I'm trying to trail my profits, I'm still going to be one tick under. If I'm short, I'm going to be one tick above. So again, so you can see how reactive these price levels are. So they're very accurate, which is why we want to take profit. And so one last thought, and I'll wrap this up. I've been training traders for a lot of years now, and I would say one of the biggest flaws that traders have, or perhaps a bad habit, is that they don't take profits when the market gives it to them. They might be up 4, 5, 6, 7 points, in the ES, which is quite a bit, and they think they can get more, which it's possible. But look, if you're trying to make money, then what you want to do is create the easiest route possible. This is a tool that is very, very easy. Let me show you a couple of I got a text message from someone that uses the box, and then I also got an email. Well, I got several emails yesterday. I'm going to show you a couple of them just so you can see what other people are doing. Okay, so here's a text that I got. This is somebody that I've known for a while, that has been trading this for 2-3 months now. So as you can see here, changed my strategy just a bit. 20 winners, 1 loser. By the way, he trades live. This is not a sim account. And that happened when that story about the Fed came out mid yesterday. This box is nuts. So this June 18th, 2013, 1:43 p.m. This is the real deal. And what you'll find, and those of you listening to this that do this, meaning follow the simplicity of what I've described. Box identifies an opportunity, arrow identifies a direction, and the dotted lines identify areas that we need to seriously consider taking profit at. The people that use that end up doing really well. 20 trades, actually 21 trades, one of those being a loser over a 2-day period. So then I had asked him what he's trading, and he's trading the ES. So exactly what you're seeing here on a 612 tick chart. And he's also trading the Russell, the TF, on a 100 tick chart. And those are my 2 favorite chart types for those 2 instruments. And he's doing nothing different than what I've described several dozen times now. The email that I got was from another person, and I got several emails yesterday, but I just wanted to show you a couple. Okay, this one might be a little bit harder to see, but it says, scored again on the 15-minute box this morning. So this guy uses a 15-minute chart for the box. 10 points and done. Unbelievable. So let's see, the timestamp of this was 11:09. So by 11 o'clock on June 18th in the morning, he had booked 10 points and is done for the day. This is Mountain Time. This is my time. unbelievable. I'm serious, you guys should look at the 15-minute. Booked 10 points on 6 contracts, scaled 3 out at what risk was, and let the remaining push on up. Telling you the most consistent and simplest strategy I've ever known. Awesome, awesome, awesome. 15-minute ES box is money. Just thinking about all the strategies out there and how complex they are, my life is forever changed. So anyways, I know a lot of you listening to this that either you're going through our trial period right now, or you're using this because you've subscribed to it, can attest to that. This does the same thing day in and day out. Wednesday is Fed Day, and I could almost guarantee you that it's going to be the same thing. So regardless of what's going on, whether that be impacts by the feds or whether that be just normal market movement, we're going to get the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not going to change. Some of the trades are going to be bigger. Some of the trades, like we had this morning, are going to be smaller, and it just is what it is. But there's a lot of profit to be had even in this small movement. And then we finally break through, and if you use a strategy to trail, then you got quite a bit out of that. If you don't, then you got some quick profits and you moved on. But that's a wrap for Tuesday, June 18th. If you have questions about that, as always, send an email to support@predictionpointtrading.com.